Welcome to another episode of Uplifting Interviews with Total Strangers. Shelley, are we total strangers?
Total strangers.
How long we known each other?
I saw your name on my lift.
About a minute ago.
Yes.
So this is great. Shelley is in the music business,
Absolutely.
right? How long?
Since I was, well, I started playing piano at 7. So
Piano.
So we'll start from there. But I mean, I've been out here since 1980. Came out to do a television special with the late Bonnie Franklin, and it went well, and I never left. So
It's music is, what do they say? It's the soul. What's the saying?
It's certainly the soul.
The soul.
I was a journalism major at school at the University of Wisconsin, and everybody said, "Wait a minute, why? Why are you're one hell of a piano player, and we love your songwriting. That's what you're going to be in." And I said, "Well, I had a Jewish mother that said, why don't you do something that you can depend on?" And so I did it for a while. I was an advertising copywriter, but then I lost half. As happens in advertising agencies, you lose half your billing. And I got a 2-piano show, Gypsy, and I was never the same.
So you write songs?
Write songs.
And do you have one I would know?
The most famous would be something I wrote with a poet named Judith Viorst. It was called Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day.
I love long titles like that.
Yes, and she was really good at that. And it was a very popular children's book. It's been around for about 40 years. About her son Alexander, and he's having a terrible day, and the mother said, "Don't worry, everybody has terrible days." It was the first book that ever refuted and argued the claim that children should be seen and not heard. In other words, it's okay to have a tantrum,
right,
at 5 or 6.
Okay,
and then you grow out of it.
Sure.
We all do, or we don't.
It's good for your young lungs as an infant to scream.
Absolutely, absolutely. We lose that as we get older.
Yeah. Well, I'm a grandfather of 10, and
right.
My son just had the latest a few minutes ago,
Wow.
and she's doing some screaming, so that's good.
Okay.
So you're going to be teaching starting today at UCLA? Today, day 1?
We audition people for the classes. I work with a person that you probably know. Have you ever seen My Big Fat Greek Wedding?
Yes.
She plays the mother, Lainey Kazan.
Oh,
she's played she says she's played everybody's mother but Whoopi Goldberg's.
Well, as I told you, I worked at the Westwood Playhouse, one of my 79 different careers. I worked in, I don't know, about a dozen different aspects in theater for John Lesser, who was son of Frank Lesser.
Who I know very well.
You know very well.
Yes.
It's a small world, you know.
It's a tiny world.
It's a very, very tiny world. And so you're gonna, you said you're gonna audition?
I'm gonna audition for people that can do the class. Yeah, you have to.
Oh, you have to audition for the class.
Yes.
And what do you look for? Obviously, talent.
Well, we
that.
look for talent, and we look for people that can sing. Number one, I mean, really sing and be open to interpretation. They have to have they have to really love music and want to learn.
My mother was a singer.
Was she?
Betty Bly. She sang for Jan Rich and Buddy Rich rather, and Jan Garber.
Wow, sure.
And she dated Reagan. She's on the cover of my autobiography called Lester's Legacy. That's a plug there. Lester's Legacy. Buy my book.
Oh,
it's on Lulu.com and Amazon Kindle.
That's great.
Yeah. I can't sing. I wish I could sing. It blows my mind how many people can sing.
Yeah.
And it's a natural instrument.
It's a natural thing,
right?
Yeah.
And I had a singer today, an interview on my podcast, and she sang. She did a whole thing about a movie about your father. You know, everyone has a father,
right.
And she had some problems. And the episode today. By the way, if you go to Be Fantastic Today, you listeners, and you go to my podcast,
I saw it
and it's called
on your card.
Yeah, it's called what did I call it? Dealing with Trials and Tribulations. She held against her animosity against her father for not being there at her graduation, as most do. But here's the problem. As a man or even a woman, you want to make money for your family. And a lot of times you get into making too much money. And when that happens, your wife divorces you and your children hate you. You weren't there for graduation, the first step, the baseball game, right? And then if you don't make enough money, you're a bum. Your wife divorces you because you're a bum. Wow. So, Shelley, how do you make the middle ground there? How did you do it? How long have you been married?
I haven't been married.
Never been married?
No, I've been single.
A bachelor?
I dated a lot of women, but...
Something to be said for that, too.
There's something to be said for that. Or not. But you make your situation... I mean, you decide what's important and what you should really concentrate on. I can multitask very well. I've always been able to do that. So I can still work on things and still make a living and do what's important to me at the same time.
Nice thing about it is you call your own shots.
Yep.
You don't have to answer to anyone. I hitchhiked around the world as a 17-year-old,
wow.
And I did it alone. And I always advocate to people to travel,
Absolutely.
Especially alone, because if you travel with someone else, you know, one person wants to go right, one person wants to go left. Traveling by yourself is the best because you know you get the pluses and the minuses.
Yeah, you do your own. You do what's important to you. Yeah. I mean, to me, it's seeing museums and meeting people, and it's.
Well, you met Dr. Fantastic today.
I did.
Here is your invitation to be fantastic.
Good.
And, when you typically someone asks how you are, what's your typical answer?
Fantastic.
Do you really say fantastic?
I do.
Come on.
No,
seriously.
Sometimes I do. Yeah.
Well, I've interviewed thousands of people, and of the thousands, I always ask, "How have you ever met someone that says they're fantastic?" Guess how many people out of thousands have ever met? Not just say it. I mean, there's been only 4 people that ever said it, but how many have met someone in their life that says fantastic?
I know several people that have said
55.
Really?
Only 55. You make 56.
Okay.
Not only do you say it, but you know people that say it, right?
I do know people.
So you are the 56th person I've met since starting this movement that either say it or know someone who say they're fantastic.
Yeah.
And do you know why it's so beneficial to your health? Saying that word?
Because it's so positive.
Because it's so positive, but it makes you smile. True. The word is the only word, not awesome, not wonderful, not blessed, not incredible, not even fabulous. Fantastic is the only word that paints a smile on your face, even if you don't want it.
That's true.
And you know what the smile does? It releases endorphins, dopamine, and serotonin, and that makes you feel great, and it makes you live longer because it reduces the stress in your body. So you've been doing the right thing, not even knowing why.
A lot of years.
Now let me ask you, Shelley, where do you think the question, how are you, came from? It's rooted in history. And 4 people have guessed it right. One guessed it this morning.
I don't know.
It came from the days of the Black Plague, when people shouted, "How are you?" from a distance because they didn't want to get the plague. They wanted to find out how they were.
Very interesting.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Now, what do you think the word fantastic means in the dictionary? See if you know that.
I don't.
The definition in the dictionary of fabulous is unimaginably good and beautiful.
Huh.
How about that?
Good.
So, Shelley, you are a fantastic person.
Thank you.
You know what pleasure it gives me to meet another fantastic person? It gives me nothing but pleasure. And what really gives me pleasure is introducing this to people that aren't fantastic, that are just good. Now, 99% of the people say good because it's a blow-off answer. It's a normal thing to say to the rhetorical question, "How are you?"
Yeah.
Okay? I call them moaners. M-O-A-N. Mediocre, ordinary, average, normal people. You don't want to be a moaner. You are not a moaner, of course.
No, I'm not.
And in music, I think the entertainment, you're more fantastic people in the entertainment business because you're entertaining, whether you're a screenwriter, a writer, a performer, you're entertaining people. And you have to be positive.
Also, you just enjoy what you're doing. When there's nothing better than finishing something and knowing that it pleases somebody somewhere.
Yes.
You know it pleases you, but when you hear that from somebody, and especially I've written a lot of kids shows, and to see the reaction or hear the reaction, or talk to somebody who has a reaction on it. I mean, a lot of these kids shows, I wrote this musical Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day, and you're always curious as to what they think. And there was this older kid that was sitting in Washington, D.C. at the Kennedy Center, and the median age, you know, I wasn't sure how people would react beyond the age of the play, which is basically 8 or 9, or maybe 10. And there was this tween. He was about 12 or 13, probably 13. And he just sat there stone-faced. And I go, oh, probably he hated it. And as I'm climbing over him, he looks at me and says, is this good musical theater or what? And I go, I think I reached him. It was joyous,
yes,
for me. You know, to say, boy, he probably wouldn't have read the book, or he read the book when he was a kid, or his mother probably, yeah, he knew the title, but we made it fresh for him at 13. And, you know, that's almost indescribable. You know, it's just very, very pleasant to walk in and know that you move somebody.
Yes, yes.
And it was one of the biggest thrills of my life to work at the Kennedy Center.
Oh,
because I'm, you know, JFK has been an idol of mine for so long.
Yeah, me too.
You know, so
I know his brother.
Oh, did you?
I know him now, Bobby. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
But no, to give it's called karma. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Being good. By the way, I always say that being fantastic and saying that out loud makes the world better 2 smiles at a time. Because
right.
I found you can't say that to someone and not to have them smile back.
Right.
One, it's the word,
right.
the word itself, even when you hear it. But 2 is the fact that you're smiling, which is contagious.
Right. Right.
You know, we all know that. Now, our logo, Be Fantastic, as you saw, the bee symbolizes pollinating positivity.
Oh, good.
Be fantastic, everybody. You know, be positive. Do you ever watch the Ellen Show?
Sure.
She says, I'm trying to get on the Ellen Show if you know anybody there. She says, be kind to one another at the end of every show.
Yep, she does.
That's what fantastic people do.
Yeah.
They're kind to one another.
That's right, sure.
You know, and I think that's will make the world a better place. When you live in a big city like this, I found, and you might agree, that it's very selfish, greedy, litigious society in the big city. The small cities, no. But here, this person doesn't want me in front of them. You know, and I'll get honked at if there's 10 feet in front of me and the traffic stopped like this.
Isn't that awful? That happens to me. And I believe...
Look at, the person's going to honk because they want to be 10 feet closer to the stopped traffic.
Absolutely.
Is that ridiculous?
That's the way I drive.
And then when I tell people, you're going to like this, Silly. When you see a red light, take your foot off the accelerator and glide. Right? Because you're not going to get there any sooner by speeding, which you see all day long, speeding to a red light and then applying your brakes hard, which wears them out. If you glide and you tap your brakes gently, they don't wear out.
And but also, it's you never know.
You don't get there
if somebody's going to stop and you're going to pound into them,
right?
Or somebody's going to pound into you.
But you don't get there any quicker
by
stopping at the red light. So on this freeway here, the 405 freeway we're about to get onto, at the climb, I had a direct TV business, one of my 79 careers. And I'll never forget this as long as I live. So I had my phone number, which is my cell number, painted on the side of the thing. You know, it was a direct TV business. I forget what I called it, but I had the logos. And I'm driving a stick shift, a van, like that one there. And I had my number on it. And because it's the hill, I didn't want to burn up my clutch. So I left a little space so I wouldn't burn my clutch up, right? I get a phone call. It's the lady behind me saying, sir, there's 10 feet in front of you. Would you mind pulling up? She actually took the time to call me instead of honking. Is that amazing?
What did you say to her?
I was dumbstruck. I go, are you kidding me? I mean, it's almost like deer in the headlights. What do you say to an imbecile that does that? She's an imbecile. I'll never. It was over.
That's
It was over 40, 30 years ago. Anyway,
that's
easily 30 years ago.
yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's funny how people are. But I'm on a mission to make the world a better place by spreading the Be Fantastic movement. It's a hell of a lot of fun. People get it. You already got it. You already know.
Yeah.
Sometimes people are fantastic. They don't even know that it's spreading joy and happiness
Yeah,
and positive thinking. But you do. You've been around the block a couple times.
Yep.
You're in music. That's wonderful. Yep. So now let's get back to UCLA where you're teaching, and you're going to audition for them to be in the class. What kind of credits do they get in the class? They get college credits?
Yeah, they get full college credits.
And what are they going to learn in the class?
They're going to learn how to interpret the written word of a song. I mean, they learn how to act, but there's another art to especially if you're in theater and you're working on songs, and even if you're going into movies. I mean, you look at Lady Gaga, who just did Star is Born, a remake of Star is Born, and she was trained as an actor.
Right.
And nobody knew that at the time. She did, but she was so petrified of auditioning, and then she met the man who directed it, and he saw in her something, and he said, "I want to teach you. I want to be your teacher." That's pretty much what we do.
In 600 feet, merge onto I-405 South.
Lainey is one hell of a teacher, and she's worked in Actors Studio with all of these brilliant people and do these acting exercises. But she really talks about getting underneath the song. What's the situation when you sing it? How old are you? If you're breaking up with somebody, who is it? How long have you been with him?
Okay, Shelley.
So it's getting deeper into your craft.
Well, leads me to something. I wrote one song in my life. I'm going to play it for you right now.
Okay.
I want you to interpret it and listen to it. I wrote it for my charity, which is for veterans. And this is the first time I'm playing it in 500 interviews. Okay. So let's enjoy it. It's only a couple minutes long. Audience, listen in.
I-405 South for 9 miles.
So that's the song.
Nice.
It's got some nice visuals there as well.
Nice.
And the song, everybody, if you want to see the visuals, it's at ilovesos.org, which stands for Supporting Our Servicemen.
Mm-hmm.
A charity I've had for 8 years. And
That's very
it's a way to thank veterans, you know. So that's my one and only song. So I'm a songwriter.
Yes.
It's not really a song; it's more of a promotional.
Well,
thing,
no,
I guess.
but I mean, good rhymes are good and the melody's good. It's a song to me. You know, did you write music and lyrics?
No, Al Wasser sang the songs, a Grammy-nominated singer, and Peter Beckett donated the music from. He's from the band The Player. You know, they had a couple famous songs, so they donated the music, and I directed it and produced it, and
You wrote the lyrics.
I wrote the lyrics.
Yeah, good lyrics.
Yeah, it's kind of a nice song. So it is about. I always love interviewing writers. Again, I've had over 500 interviews in this car, from writers, from directors, from rappers and singers to scientists and composers and all sorts of folk, and everyone has a great story, you know. And I love when people are positive, and I like to, through the interviews, intertwine my philosophies and my my motivational slogans and what have you. And we have a good time, and we pass the time.
Absolutely.
You know, I hitchhike around the world. I always felt it was my obligation to entertain the driver because he was giving me a ride.
Yeah.
So I made the conversation flow. I always like learning something new. Today I learned that cussing, swearing is healthy, especially when you hurt yourself. Yeah. There's something that goes on in your brain that relieves the pain by cussing. So that's kind of interesting. The guy was pretty knowledgeable on it. That was a fun interview. Actually, I don't usually do that many interviews lately, but today I've done 3 interviews already, which is kind of cool.
That's cool.
By the way, everybody listening, my podcasts, which they're called Dr. Fantastic Interviews, are on BeFantasticToday.com, and it's all about improving the mind, the body, or the planet. And there's some amazing guests we've had, not strangers like in this show. This is complete strangers like you are, Shelley. Right. But on that show, we talked to some really smart people about things that will improve your mind, body, or planet. So maybe one day we'll have you again on the podcast, because people like podcasts. I don't know if you listen to them or not. Do you listen to podcasts?
Not too much. Yeah, but I'm doing more. I'm with a couple of people that they listen to that all the time.
So, Shelley, I want to thank you for your interview. Anything you want to add about your plug your school, your course?
Well, I hope we get a lot of good people.
How many are you looking for?
We did 14 last year, but we've done up to 23 or something.
Now, is this a volunteer thing you're doing, or you get paid to do this?
Oh, I get paid.
You get paid?
Yeah.
And so does the other lady?
Yes, we get paid really well. I mean, for considering, she's an adjunct professor. I'm hoping to get something.
She's an agent? She's an
adjunct professor.
Oh, adjunct professor.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I love Mamma Mia. I love musicals.
Mamma Mia, that's not what she did. She did My Big Fat
Oh, yeah. Okay, well, I'm sorry.
But she's done, she played Bette Midler's mother in Beaches. She's done so much.
She plays the mothers, huh?
She plays mothers, but she was Barbara Streisand's understudy in Funny Girl, but that's
well, if you don't mind, and invite her to be fantastic. Give her one of my cards.
I will.
And this is a kind of a fun thing I'm doing. If she's a good cook, I have a cooking show for charity. And imagine your favorite celebrity, like her, cooking her favorite meal in her kitchen for you and her guests, because you would be invited, because you're telling her about it. And it's a dinner party, and all the money goes to charity, her favorite charity.
She makes a wicked pasta sauce.
There you go. And we supply all the ingredients, because usually they're sponsors, and we sell the product on the site, and all that money goes to her favorite charity, whatever that is.
Great.
So most people don't say no when they're invited.
Yeah.
We have Sue Wong coming up in March, John Paul DeJoria around his schedule, because he's a super billionaire and kind of busy, but it's all around their schedule, and it's a dinner party, and we have fun. Check it out, everybody. CookingStylesOfTheRichandFamous.com. Shelley, I want to thank you for being a guest. If you like what you're seeing, everybody, like, subscribe, share, be fantastic, It's a great New Year's resolution. It's the easiest
Right.
and the healthiest resolution you could adopt by being fantastic.
Absolutely.
Right, Shelley?
Absolutely.
Shelley's been fantastic for years. And what a character this guy is. I love him.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shelley.
My pleasure.
Be fantastic, everybody.